So, good day. We are the Group 6 and we will present the case 3 for the grand case discussion. For the case, a 32-year-old professional male basketball athlete felt immediate pain and weakness over his right shoulder upon impact of another player's hand during the shot. The patient stated that he heard a popping sound over his right shoulder. He was diagnosed with right rotator cuff tear and was referred to rehabilitation. So, for the question number 1, discuss the mechanism of the injury. During the injury, the patient's right shoulder was abducted, flexed, externally rotated, causing stress and tear to the rotator cuff muscles. So, given the fact na nasa shooting position yung patient, I assume na yung formation ng shoulder niya during the injury is yun nga, abducted, naka-flex, and externally rotated. About dun sa popping sound na narinig niya, it occurred when the patient collided with the impact of the player causing him to have a rotator cuff tear. So, kadalasan or minsan may maririnig talaga na ganong sound pag nagkakaroon ng rotator cuff tear. Since rotator cuff tear happens mostly in the supraspinatus muscle. About naman sa nararanasan niya, if the tears occurs with injury, the patient may experience acute pain and as I said, yung snapping sensation or yung popping sound and immediate weakness of the arm. So, for the causes of the mechanism of injury or the injury itself, we have the overuse of the rotator cuff muscles, injury that causes stress to the rotator cuff muscles, aging, and degeneration of the tissue. So for the symptoms, the patient may feel pain and swelling in the front of his or her shoulder and side of his or her arm, a clicking sound when raising your arm, and stiffness. And for the complications, this may lead to permanent loss of motion or weakness, progressive degeneration of the shoulder joint, thickness and tightness of the glenohumeral joint capsule, or as we call the frozen shoulder. So for the risk factors, we have the age, genetics, occupations such as carpentry or house painting requires repetitive arm motions, often overhead, that can damage the rotator cuff over time. We also have the overhead activities, smoking, repetitive stress lifting, and of course, the male is more prone to rotator cuff tear than female. And then we have the traumatic injury. So question number 2.
So, question number 2, what are the different structures affected by the patient's condition? The rotator cuff is a group of four muscles and the tendons. The supraspinatus, infraspinatus, subscapularis, and teres minor. But the supraspinatus is the mostly affected muscle in the rotator cuff injury. These muscles and tendons connect the upper arm to the shoulder blade and allow the shoulder to move. They stabilize the shoulder by hitting the ball-shaped humeral head in the socket shaped Leonard fossa, and they hold the joint intact through a wide range of motions that would otherwise dislodge the humeral head. Next slide.
So for question number 3, give a special test to confirm the patient's diagnosis. So for number 1, shoulder shrug test. The key for this type of test is to check if they can elevate their arm after you help them pass their shrug. So next is the Hawkins test. The examiner elevates arm to 90 degree of abduction and forces the shoulder into internal rotation, impinging the cuff under the subacromial arc. Next test is the near test. The examiner stabilizes the scapula and the other hand rotates it internally. Raise the patient's arm anteriorly, narrowing the space in a healthy shoulder. It would not elicit pain. Next is the shoulder drop arm test. If the arm drops or shrugs, this means that the rotator cuff wasn't able to counterbalance the superior line of deltoid. In some cases, you may also need the following test: ultrasound test, X-ray, CT scan, or MRI. Doctor then refers it as either a partial or full tear, high or low grade. For the full tear, some of the tissues are not intact anymore. Partial tear, some of the tissues are still intact. For the grade 1, for tears less than 3 millimeters. Grade 2, tears for 3 millimeters to 6 millimeters. High grade, for more than 50% of the torn. Low grade and less than 50% torn. for next slide, for additional information, the treatment options are surgical, physical therapy, and medication. Next slide.
So, so for the question number 4, discuss how does the patient's occupation may affect his condition. The occupation of the person greatly affects his condition because he is an athlete, which requires most of the great use of upper and lower extremities. The use of the shoulder as flexion, extension, and adduction is used and for the defense of the body for such bodily impacts. So that's all. Additional info for exercise: stand with your arms at your sides and your palms facing forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and fold for 5 to 10 seconds. Repeat a few times. And then stretch your arm straight in front of you and move it forward using only your shoulder. Then move your shoulder as far back as you can without moving your neck or back or bending your arm. Lie on your unaffected side and bend your top arm in a 90-degree angle. Keep your elbow on your hip and rotate your lower arm up toward the ceiling. Repeat 10 to 20 times. And then stand on a doorway, holding the side of the frame with your arm slightly below shoulder height. Turn your upper body away from that arm until you feel a slight stretch and hold. So that's all. Here are our references. Okay na yun.